Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. If you're gearing up for your GCSE Religious Studies exams and feeling a bit, well, overwhelmed by all the dense religious art you have to memorize, you're in exactly the right place. Today we're going to uncover the secrets hidden inside one of the most important pieces of Christian artwork you need to know, giving you a highly focused visual cheat sheet for your revision.
All right, we're diving straight into this absolute masterpiece, the breathtaking Tree of Life mosaic found inside the Basilica of San Clemente in Rome. Now, look at this thing. At first glance, yeah, it's a lot. It is absolutely packed with swirling details, figures, and animals. But don't stress. You don't need to be overwhelmed. We're going to break it down and focus strictly on what you need for those exam marks, looking specifically at how this incredible artwork uses symbols to connect the life and death of Jesus with the Genesis stories of creation.
So here's our game plan for today. Number 1, the Tree of Life cross. 2, heavenly symbols above Christ. 3, the cross and 12 doves. 4, defeating the Genesis serpent. And finally, number 5, essential GCSE exam terminology.
Let's start with Section 1, the Tree of Life cross.
Think of this entire mosaic as a giant visual map. Notice how you can trace a straight vertical line right from the roots of the tree at the very bottom, stretching straight up the wood of the cross where Jesus is crucified and pointing directly up into the heavenly realm at the top? That's definitely not an accident. It visually screams that Jesus is the direct pathway to heaven. For your exam, the absolute key takeaway here is the title itself, the Tree of Life. It refers directly to the cross, because for Christians, the cross is exactly what brings new life and literally opens up the way to heaven.
Moving right along to Section 2, heavenly symbols above Christ. Let's cast our eyes to the very top of the mosaic. We're looking at the symbols completely surrounding the resurrected Jesus. Notice how this space is totally separated from the earthly stuff down below? Up here, Jesus isn't depicted in his suffering. He's in his resurrected glory, actively overseeing the entirety of creation and the church. To lock in those top marks, let's identify and define the specific symbols floating around in this heavenly zone.
First up is the Chi Rho. You've got to memorize this exact definition. It identifies Jesus as the Anointed One. See those letters prominently displayed in the circular medallion that look kind of like a capital P with an X through the stem? Those are actually the first two letters of the Greek word for Christ, Christos. So definitely write this down for your notes. Christ literally translates to Anointed One, meaning someone specifically chosen and sent by God with a highly special task to complete.
Right next to that, flanking the Chi Rho symbol, you'll spot the Alpha and the Omega. These are literally the first and last letters of the Greek alphabet. So what's the big deal here? Well, when writing your answer, you need to connect these letters to the eternal nature of Jesus. It's a visual way of saying Christ is the beginning and the end of all things, representing the Christian belief that he's existed since the very dawn of creation and will absolutely be there at the end of time.
Now this next part is just brilliant. Look just below those heavenly symbols, reaching down through the clouds. It's not a full drawing of God the Father, just a hand. That is the hand of God, and it's a super powerful symbol. It's holding out a wreath, which was a massive Roman symbol of triumph. So by placing this wreath of victory right over the cross, the artwork is making a huge theological statement. The crucifixion wasn't a defeat at all. It was the ultimate victory that permanently defeated sin.
Which brings us nicely to Section 3, the cross and 12 doves. Let's bring our focus back down to the center. Look at the stark, dark color of the physical cross itself. Notice how it totally contrasts with those bright, flourishing vines spiraling out all over the place. That is highly intentional. The artwork is visually arguing a core Christian belief. Out of the dark reality of Jesus' death erupts an absolute explosion of vibrant new life. Because Jesus died and rose again, he effectively unlocked the gates of heaven, letting all that life flow out into the entire world.
Now pay really close attention to the number 12 right on the cross. A pro tip for your revision. Whenever you spot the number 12 in Christian art, your brain should immediately jump to some very specific biblical references.
In this case, that number 12 is represented by those white birds or doves resting right on the wood. The absolute key exam term you want to drop here is Holy Spirit. The dove is the universal Christian symbol for the Holy Spirit, right? So because there are exactly 12 of them, they represent the 12 apostles who were totally filled with the Spirit after Jesus' resurrection and ascension. Plus, you can definitely add that doves are universally recognized symbols for peace, illustrating the peace that Christ's sacrifice brings between God and humanity.
All right, moving to Section 4,
defeating the Genesis serpent.
So let's look at where the cross is actually planted. If you follow it all the way down, the dark wood is quite literally emerging from a green, leafy base at the bottom. By doing this, the artist is making a direct, bold comparison to the Garden of Eden, showing us that the cross is the new tree of life. Think about it. The original tree, the tree of knowledge, brought sin and death into the world through Adam and Eve. But this new tree, the cross, brings salvation and life through Jesus.
And to lock in those guaranteed marks, you absolutely must mention the serpent coiled up down there at the roots. This is a massive callback to the snake that tempted Adam and Eve. But notice what's happening here. The serpent is completely trapped at the bottom, overpowered by the sheer weight of the massive cross growing out above it. It's a visual theology lesson. Jesus, acting as the new Adam, has entirely crushed and decisively defeated the original sin introduced by the first Adam.
Finally, right at the very bottom border, below the tree, we get this awesome Good Shepherd imagery. See the sheep right in the middle with a halo? That represents Jesus. And the crucial exam keyword you need to use right here is atonement. Jesus is the ultimate sacrificial lamb offered up to atone for human sins. And just like the 12 doves above, those 12 ordinary sheep separated from him represent his followers, his disciples following the Good Shepherd.
Let's pull all of this together with Section 5, Essential GCSE Exam Terminology. Listen out, because this right here is your ultimate visual cheat sheet. Take a screenshot of this table right now. When the exam asks about the Cairo, you confidently write Anointed One. Alpha and Omega, beginning and end. The hand with the wreath signifies victory over sin. The doves on the cross mean the Holy Spirit and the apostles. The serpent at the base proves Jesus defeated sin as the new Adam. And the lamb at the bottom, that is all about atonement and sacrifice. Nailing this specific vocabulary is your absolute roadmap to a top grade on this topic. So, to finish off and really lock in your revision, I want you to test your memory right now. No rewinding, no checking your notes. Force your brain to recall it. What exactly do the Alpha and Omega signify about Christ's existence? Say it out loud or jot it down right now. Grasping these visual symbols is going to make your GCSE answers so much richer and more accurate. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. Keep up the awesome revision, and I'll catch you next time.